The Irishman was one of my most anticipated movies of the year. How could it not be? We get Martin Scorsese back once again in a land that he is very familiar of. We get Robert De Niro, we get Joe Pesci, we get Al Pacino, we get a kind of gangster saga that spans decades. And we get a little bit of playground here. He doesn't usually have as much freedom as he seems to have with this Netflix movie because he doesn't have any time constraints. We get a 3.5 hour epic charting this one man's kind of life. That man is Frank Sheeran, the Irishman, the titular character of the movie, who gets drawn into this underworld, who has had some time in the war, who's lost a kind of part of him and is able to kill people. One of my favourite things about the movie is based on a book called I Paint Houses, and just that idea, that subcontext of a hitman who paints houses, who kills people, who does his own carpentry, who cleans up after it. It was kind of fascinating. We get Frank, who is a kind of closed off emotional person. He has a diminished part of his compassion for humanity throughout his efforts in the war. And when we meet him, he is doing some work for a company travelling meat from various places. Now, as he bumps into people, as he creates connections within the underworld, he starts to, push the boundaries a little bit further, doing little bits of crime and getting into little bits of trouble, and starting to get drawn in to the union world, the world of the teamsters, the drivers and deliverers of America, as the corrupt nature of that union takes hold. Now we get to meet Jimmy Hoffa in the form of Al Pacino, and this is basically all about the road of Jimmy Hoffa and how he kind of disappears and how Frank may be involved in one way or another. And of course, Russell Buffalino, played by Joe Pesci, this man who seems to be a kind of guardian angel of Frank, but also takes extreme liberties with him as well, getting him to do some extremely dodgy and nefarious things throughout the film. And what we have here is another Martin Scorsese classic right on the bat. Right from the start, it has that kind of pace, that kind of moving all over the place, has lots of different moving parts, and really just draws you in to this sort of glamorous yet terrifying world of a mob hitman. And one of the most well talked about things about the movie is the de-aging. The way they kind of take these actors who are later in years and make them a lot younger, and it really does quite work. It has an uncanny valley about it. It doesn't look quite right because these people aren't that age, but at points you kind of forget about it and you're drawn into the younger versions of De Niro, Pesci and several other characters. And it's really great that it manages to do that you manage to forget about it as well. But not just about the de-aging. At one point they jump forward in time and the ages characters would make up, and that's extremely impressive as well. It looks great. And you have this sprawling tale that starts oh so strong, loses it a little bit in the middle and really picks back up as well. Because of the allowance of the 3.5 hour runtime, we get a little bit of indulgence in the storytelling and a little bit of indulgence in the way scenes are dragged out a little bit, or the avenues that the movie takes that are not necessarily essential to the main plot of it. But it's Martin Scorsese indulging himself, and you can kind of go with that, even though it does feel a little bit of a sidetrack or a little bit of muddled down, because especially when Al Pacino's character comes into it, it starts to lose a direction a little bit as it starts to feel out the characters, showing what they're like, what they're doing, how they're relating to several other people. It feels as if it kind of just slows down a little bit as it gets lost in its own intricacies. But it's fun to get lost in them. It's fun to see these side characters and spend a little bit of time as they do their dodgy dealings and ultimately get to their demise. There were so many things that I really enjoyed about this. The performances are great. We get really engaged actors doing great work here. And Scorsese is in a playground that he knows very well and can do almost with his eyes shut, and seems again engaged with the way he's telling the story. The movement of the camera is wonderful, and it's really just a nice, comforting 3.5 hour epic that has several touches that I really liked, but one that I see a lot of people kind of hating on, but I kind of liked was it would pop up every now and again and just give you the name of a character who may not be really saying anything in a scene, or may just be there for like a one line, and just give you the date they died and the horrible way they died, with one exception. And it just kind of shows you that this murky world, nobody really lives forever. Nobody really manages to make it through here unscathed, and even if they're well liked at a certain point, at some point in the future, they're going to have a horrible demise. But Scorsese, like I said, in the playground that he knows well, with actors that he's worked with plenty of times before, with thematics and with a certain subculture that he can revel in when he's telling these stories, it comes together in a fantastic piece of entertainment. The only thing about this is I never got to see it on the big screen, which is really a little bit disappointing, really, because I wanted to experience this on the biggest screen that I could, rather than just sitting at home watching it. But this is the way the world seems to go just now, where Martin Scorsese can't get a gangster epic greenlit from a studio with Al Pacino, Robert De Niro, Joe Pesci starring in it. It's sad days. I really enjoyed The Irishman. I thought it was a fun movie. It had some great characters, it had some fantastic standout scenes, and it was altogether a real joy to watch. Have you seen it? Did you enjoy it? Let me know in the comment box below your thoughts on The Irishman, and I'll see you next time on Man vs. Film.